Good evening, and welcome to 5 Day with Jay. I'm your host, J.R. Murdock. How are you this evening? Notice anything different? I don't know why I didn't try this before. I don't know why I didn't think about it before. I've been using a webcam for recording these videos. The webcam, every time I plug it in, I need to go and readjust the settings every single time. I have a GoPro. Let's see what happens. So I'm giving it a shot. Let me know in the notes. Do you like it? In the comments? Did you like it? Does it look better? My hands look weird. I know it seems like it's got the wide angle thing going on. You can see a lot more of the room. Hey! But anyway, I'm Jay. How are you this evening? I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me. Hey, look, you can even see the Rubik's Cube. So I've been... In high school, I learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube. I could solve a Rubik's Cube in under a minute in high school. But the book I had was very different. Basically, your solve side was always on top on the book that I had. I'm relearning how to solve the Rubik's Cube. And the solve side, you solve for one side first, and then it goes on the bottom. And then you start solving from the bottom up instead of from the top down. It's an interesting way to learn about the Rubik's Cube and the patterns. The patterns are very similar to what I knew before. I've forgotten the whole bottom row, so that's why I went to go look. If you have noticed in the background, it wasn't solved, then it was changed, and then it was solved, and then I've been toying with it. I'm learning new things. I'm learning old things in new ways. It's fun. It's fun to mess around with an old technology like that. So I'm having fun with the Rubik's Cube again. It's been a very long time since I solved it. I had it solved the other day, and I'm going to go watch the video, and my goal is to solve it once a day, once every couple of days, just to get comfortable with the routine again. There's something about a routine, and solving a Rubik's Cube is just fun. It's fun to sit down. And people are always amazed when you solve a Rubik's Cube. It's patterns, it's formulas, it's math. It's just learning the repetition and doing it over and over and over, and then learning to do it faster. That's what the Rubik's Cube is all about. It's all about learning how to solve a cube quickly. And if you know the patterns, it's actually rather simple, but it's memorizing the patterns. This is the way I approach writing as well. I'm learning, I know how to write a story. I know how to tell a story. There's only so many different ways to complete a story, to solve a story. There's only so many plots. You've probably seen this before. If you're a writer, there's only so many plots, there's only so many stories to tell. It's a matter of relearning the patterns so that you can experiment with them and toy with them and play with them. Because there's so many different combinations, but there's always a solution. With writing a story, writing a book, there's a lot of different plot lines you can take. This evening I met with my co-author Mike Plested, and we were talking about Jack Kane, book 3. Oh, excited to be working on book 3. Books 1 and 2, they've done modestly well, not nowhere near any bestseller lists. I doubt they ever will be, but they're fun stories. And we know how book 3 will begin and book 3 will end. We also know how book 4 will begin and most likely how book 4 will end. It's not knowing the bookends, it's that journey in between that's all the different twisty patterns. We know the beginning, we know the end. It's everything in between that's a mess. And that's the fun part. The fun part is that mess in between. It's getting from the problem to the solution. That's what writing stories is all about. So it was fun sitting down talking with Mike. Mike, if you're watching this one, hey, great having you here. And Jack Kane doesn't always solve something in a linear fashion. That's what's so fun about Jack. He will stumble into a problem and backdoor his way into a solution because he thinks he knows the solution, but in fact, he's completely wrong what the problem is to begin with. Yet he's plodding away, thinking, oh, I know what the problem is. Now I need to figure out how to solve that problem. And when Jack gets it in his head, he moves in a direction. Outside forces will push him one way or the other. That's what's fun about a Jack Kane story. So when Mike and I start talking about Jack Kane, It is so much fun. We have fun with Jack. We have fun with Betsy. We have fun with Felonius, with Lenny and Squiggy, with Bennington. We've slowly built a whole cast of characters around Jack and Felonius. When we first started plotting it, Jack and Felonius were the only two characters. Now we've got a whole host of characters and subplots and villains that we're dealing with. Situations that grow on one another. Book 1 into Book 2. Book 2 pretty much grew from Book 1. Book 3, because of what happened in Book 2, we're going to have a blast with Book 3. We need to figure out the title. We've got Jack Kane and the Statue of Liberty. We've got Jack Kane and the Kaiser. We need to figure out the title for Book 4. And we've had a lot of discussion on what is going to happen in Book 3. Book 4, actually, I think we have a title for Book 4 already because of what's going to happen in Book 3. It's just so much fun sitting down and talking story, and Mike and I work the same way. The first book we wrote, we did some very intense plotting, chapter by chapter plotting. Had a paragraph for each chapter, and we thought we could both go off and write and come back and just weave the story together. That didn't really work so well. What we did with Book 2 is I wrote the first Jack Kane chapter, sent it off to Jack, said, "What do you think?" He sent back chapter 2 with Felonius. It's like, I wrote chapter 3, sent it back to him, and we just kept passing it back and forth and just kept building on what each other was doing. We kept riffing off one another. If one of us would spot an issue with the story, we'd, by the way, in this chapter you mentioned this, that, and the other thing. Make sure you go back and reference my chapter where it's a little bit different, and we've worked it all out. I think Book 2 is a significantly better book than Book 1 because in Book 1 we were still figuring things out, still learning what to do. Book 3, we're a lot more comfortable with the characters, we're a lot more comfortable with the situation, the dates, the cast of characters. I'm excited. Even for Hudson the dog, it's going to be a blast. So away we go. We're ready to work on Book 3. I will likely start either this weekend or Monday. With Mike and I, chapter length works between 1,000 to 2,500 words. We try and keep our chapters shorter. But one thing we did talk about is because of the events that are going to be happening, we're going to have more viewpoints because we're going to need more viewpoints for what's going to happen. And it's going to be really fun to do those separate viewpoints. Therefore, this one's probably going to be a little bit longer than our last one, than Book 2 was. Book 1, I want to say, was around 60,000 words. Book 2 was 70 to 75, I believe. This one's probably going to weigh in close to 90,000 words. It's going to be a nice, healthy novel. I'm excited, and we're planning on getting this one written over the summer and have it off to the publisher. If you don't know, Mike and I published that one through Champagne Press. Go to the website, got all the links there so you can find out where to go buy it if you're interested in Jack Kane. It's a steampunk novel. We have fun with steampunk. It's kind of a steampunk detective. Jack, as I said, is a bumbling wannabe detective. He's an inventor who goes off and solves crime. Kind of his thing. And he's got Betsy to kind of keep him in check. That's it. Okay. Jack Kane aside, Rubik's Cubes aside, numbers. It was really exciting yesterday to see a 5-star review on Haircut. I mean, like, I'm still really excited about that. That story is very near and dear to my heart because the characters, the interaction between the two characters is just so... You want to wrap up and give them a hug. I mean, that's the kind of characters that are in that story. So it was really fun to see that somebody read it and got it. They got the story. They understood what it was about the characters and absolutely loved the story. Sold 5 copies of it so far. It's already starting to tip down. This happens. Numbers are going to take time to grow. I've been saying this for a long time. I'm not expecting to release something and see, 1,000 copies get sold in a week. I am not at that level of authorship yet. I hope to be. I would love to get to that level of other friends. I have friends that have achieved that success, but they didn't achieve it overnight. They didn't achieve it with their first book. Many of them had to release 5, 6, 7 books in rapid succession for people to go, oh, hey, and then go read it. And those were all in a series. It was one series. It wasn't like what I did, where I've got 17 books out there, but they're all 2 in this series and 2 in that series and whatnot. And that's what I'm correcting. As I said, we're doing a course correction. Yes, I'll be writing multiple series with multiple casts and crews, but it's all in one universe and all one major story arc. Getting those books out there is going to be exciting. And I know it's going to be a long, slow boil to get to where I want to be as an author. It just is. There's just no other way to do this other than slowly build the fan base. If you've been following along, you know where we're at. We released a Giant Robot Planetary Competition. We still have sold 0 copies. I expected that. I even said this when I released it. I will be surprised if I sell 1 in the entire month. I will be surprised. I was pleasantly surprised that the short story sold 5 copies. I did not expect that. Absolutely did not expect it. Again, it's 99 cents. It's pick it up and read it. We hit a couple of lists with it for 15-minute reads. I thought that was awesome. Already trickling down off that list, but that's how those lists work on Amazon. And it's not a really popular list that most people would go and visit. I get it. But it's a short story. It's a fun short story. Next one comes out the week after next. I almost started releasing a short story every single week. Actually, that's untrue. I was going to release ebook, short story, print book, short story. I was going to be releasing content every single week. That would have burned through my back catalog really fast, and I would have to be writing a book a month and 2 short stories a month to keep on schedule. I didn't want that pressure, so we're doing ebook 1 month, print book the following month, and every other week a short story. So that means in 2 months you will get an ebook, the print book that goes along with it, and 4 short stories. What does that mean for me as an author? That means every 2 months I need to write a novel and 4 short stories. I can do that. I know I can do it, and I need to do it to keep the content rolling out. That's the biggest thing I've been saying all along. Is one of the biggest failures I had in my career, even though I was releasing multiple different series and doing all kinds of wild and crazy things, if I had been on a schedule and stuck to a schedule and upped my quality, I think the books would have done better. I think I would have done so many starts and stops. People lost interest in what I was doing because of so many false starts. I can't let that happen again. I cannot go, oh my gosh, I didn't sell any books. I need to just give it all up again, because I know it's going to take time. Now is finally the right time for me to sit down and go, okay, success is that away. Let's get moving. So what am I doing? I'm doing a slow burn. I'm doing a slow boil, however you want to term it. I'm slowly building up my audience again. I know it's going to take time. It just is. There's no rhyme or reason to building an audience all of a sudden. I've got the YouTube videos. I've got all the different social medias, TikTok, the Tumblr. I'm trying to release this in as many places as I possibly can. I'm trying to get content out there as much as I possibly can. I want to make sure no matter where